Welcome back everyone, Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil. This is one of the subreddits where basically it's a culmination of people who are just generally not the best of people posting on Reddit, and oh boy, it's gonna be messy. Hope you all enjoy this one. Am I the asshole for snatching my wife's bunny ears headband off her head in front of her students? My wife, 38 female, is a teacher and a doctoral candidate in education. Yesterday we had a pretty big fight, and today, I, 40 male, drove to her school a few hours ago just because she forgot something and she wanted me to drop it off for her. My wife teaches very young kids, so she frequently wears this bunny ears headband that the children all love. I was the one who bought it for her because I help out financially with extraneous school supplies like this. I also must note that the tension from our fight spilled over from yesterday, so I was still angry at her when I dropped by her school to deliver her thing. When I met my wife at the front, there were a few students nearby, and when she met me, she was still wearing her bunny ears. My wife was excessively cold to me, and she didn't even say thank you, so I kind of snatched the bunny ears off her head and walked back to my car with them. This really pissed her off, and she followed me into the car and snapped at me that the students saw what I did. In response, I asked her who paid for the fucking headband. My wife couldn't respond, and she just gave me a glare before she walked out of the car. Dude, what the fuck? Yes! You are in fact the asshole. You single-handedly leveraged your finances above your wife, made her look like a fool in front of her students, and also possibly start rumors about her home life. And if this is how you're willing to treat her in public, God knows how you treat her in private. I'm very curious to know what that previous fight entailed because good God, man. Why would you post this? God damn, dude, now your wife has to explain to her students why her husband can throw a temper tantrum in the parking lot, but they can't. Come on, man. What were you thinking? Am I the asshole for sending an email to the rest of the family about sister-in-law's behavior on vacation? What? My husband and I decided to bring our two kids to Disney World for 4 days now that they're old enough to appreciate it. My husband and I are not in the best of shape, so we decided to invite his sister and her husband along with us. We have 2 separate rooms. We assumed we would spend our time in the parks together since it was, after all, a family vacation. The first day in the park, we all did a few attractions together, but then when we went to bring the kids to meet some characters, she said she and her husband had things in the park they wanted to do and would meet back up with us. We didn't see them until dinner after we watched fireworks together and then went back to the hotel. The second day we went to Epcot, they stuck around with us until the afternoon, but then split up with us again to drink around the world. When we met up with them for dinner, they were clearly very tipsy in front of the kids. Very mature. When we got back to the hotel that night, I knocked on their door after the kids were asleep. I asked them if they were going to spend any time with the family on this vacation and told them running around an amusement park with kids all day is exhausting and we could use help. She claimed the time they were spending with us was enough, but they wanted to do their own thing too. She made a rude comment that she didn't take days off of work to be our babysitter. The next 2 days, we didn't speak to them at all. They did their own thing and we did ours with our kids. We didn't see them again until the flight home, which was awkward. I was so upset that they ruined the experience for our kids who were looking forward to spending time with their aunt, that when I got home, I wrote an email to her. Oh my God. I wrote and emailed our immediate family about the experience and at the end, told them this was the reason we would be getting low contact with sister-in-law. I included sister-in-law on email, sent it, and went to sleep. Woke up to a ton of angry texts from husband's family calling me ridiculous. I just assumed she would spend time with family on family vacation. Clearly, she did not value family. No. It is crystal clear you invited them to that vacation under false pretenses. That is ridiculous. You literally said, my husband and I are not in the best of shape, so we decided to invite his sister and her husband along with us. You knew exactly what you were doing. Don't even try to play that game. I get the feeling that when you knocked on the door after the kids were asleep to talk to them, I have a feeling that you were probably pretty confrontational towards them, and that's why you got the rude babysitter comment thrown your direction, which was probably well-deserved, honestly. And then to top it all off, you chain emailed her entire family about their behavior. Oh, God forbid they got intoxicated at Disney World. Oh no! Now, because this wasn't added, I doubt this was the case, but this would be a very different story if you specifically paid for their entire travel with the stipulation that they were there to help you with your kids. That would be different. That would be entirely different. But I seem to doubt that. Not to mention, I've dealt with people like you. The only reason why you would send an email like that out to their family is not to explain why you're going low contact. It's an attempt at shaming. Your goal was not to explain why you wouldn't want to be around them. Your goal was to shame them and make the rest of the family give them the scorn that you wanted them to. There is no other reason for that. Would I be the asshole for trying to stop my brother's wedding? Throw away for obvious reasons. My brother is getting married to his childhood sweetheart soon. I don't like the whole idea of the wedding because they're practically still kids, and it would be dumb for them to get married so young. Our parents, ours and hers, are pretty pissed about it too, but going along with it anyway because they were worried they might just elope and go no contact otherwise. Also, I'm in love with his fiancée. There it is. We all sort of grew up together, neighbors for 5 years when we were teens, parents close friends now, etc. And she always had a big crush on me, but I ignored it because she was a kid and really annoying. But her and my brother were always best friends because they were the same age. We had a bit of a thing when we were like 18, 16, but again, I thought she was too young, and also I was dealing with a lot of personal shit at the time, so I ended up pushing her away and making her think I didn't want her because I didn't want to hurt her worse in the long run, even though I kind of did start to really like her. I guess I thought she'd just be there when I was ready or something because she'd always been so obsessed with me. Ugh. Cue my freaking brother riding in on his white horse when I broke things off with her, and them getting together, which was always his game plan, I think. Fast forward 4 years, and apparently they're getting married. She's more religious than us, and they've always done this purity ring bullshit, so obviously my brother just got bored of waiting and wants to get married now so he can get laid. I don't think he's good enough for her, and I never did, especially in the light of what I know now. Anyway, my brother got really drunk the other night and told me that when they broke up for a while, I don't know why they broke up, but I remember he was really cut up about it. Last year, he fucked someone else just before they ended up getting back together, and he was going on to me about how bad he felt and how he didn't know she was going to take him back when he did it, and he wished he hadn't. Whatever, dick. I don't think she knows what he did, and I don't think she would marry him if she knew he'd gone and cheated on her when they were broken up, especially if they were doing the whole no sex before marriage. Would I be the asshole if I told her what he said and told her how I really feel about her and maybe stop the wedding? I really think she's my soulmate and that deep down she probably wants to be with me too. She just doesn't know that I'm in love with her, / still an option, or that he's just a cheat. I love her too. I should tell her, right? She might want to be with me instead. Oh. This feels like a really bad Hallmark movie, but the target audience is for incel nice guys. Buddy really said that he cheated on her when they were broken up, and that's grounds for them to be... That's grounds for him to ruin their wedding, and the fact that he wants to confess his feelings, believes they're soulmates, and thinks that she'll just drop his brother and go right for him. Dude, like, would that be a conversation that him and his fiancée need to have? Yes, very much so, especially if there's a religious aspect to it and they had a promise ring. That is most certainly a conversation they need to have. Are you doing this for morally just reasons? No, you have ulterior motives and therefore it throws the entire reasoning out the window because you just want to get with her instead. You're not doing the right thing. You're just really selfish in probably one of the most awkward nice guy ways. Am I the asshole for firing an employee after seeing what she posts on her social media? 6 months ago, we had a new hire in the company I work for as HR manager. She's a 25-year-old girl. She was very lovely the entire time and friendly with everyone. In my company, we also do background checks, but I found nothing on her, and her Instagram was private. We worked closely together multiple times, and we ended up developing somewhat of a friendship. I wouldn't say we were proper friends, but we got to a friendly point, where we'd hang out after work sometimes, or spend our breaks together. We'd gossip, etc. 4 months in, she popped up in my Instagram suggestions, and I clicked on her profile. Still private, and I was surprised to see that no person from our company follows her. I clicked and sent her a follow request, to which I noticed she hadn't responded in weeks. I thought she simply wasn't using Instagram that much, that's why she hadn't responded, but then I saw she changed her profile pic at some point. So the next time I saw her, I casually brought it up to her, and she replied that she doesn't feel comfortable to have people from the job following her. But because we were friendly, she followed me back. Once I saw what she posted on her Instagram, my mouth dropped. She's a freelance model and she has a lot of behind-the-scenes pics on her Instagram, a very fancy, luxurious lifestyle, pics of her wearing provocative outfits. Concerned, I brought it up to her that since she's working for our company, she's also representing our company, and her having this kind of image on social media will not reflect well and people won't take us seriously. She got defensive, saying that what she does outside of company hours is none of my business and I can't dictate her personal life since she doesn't do anything bad or illegal. She's just expressing herself through her social media. I said indeed, but it's still not a good look, so she needs to take her posts down. She said I have no say over that. I warned her that this decision would have consequences, and she refused to comply, so I ended up firing her. Now, some coworkers and higher-ups said my decision was too harsh, and it gives a bad look to our company and working environment, while others say I was 100% justified. So if I understand this correctly, HR was extremely pushy to follow someone's private Instagram, something that the normal customer of a company would not have access to. It would not represent the company. She pushed her to the point and essentially became friends with her and under false pretenses lured her into feeling confident enough to allow someone from the company, HR for that matter, to see a private Instagram. Then she was fired based upon what she saw on that private Instagram. And people wonder why HR gets a bad name. This is actually really gross. Like, it's a private Instagram. It's not something where someone who's a customer of said company is gonna stumble upon the employee's Instagram because it's private. She went through the due diligence of having her own personal sideline hobby / source of income / what she does in her personal life being actually properly isolated from the company. And the HR person wormed and weaseled themselves into a position where they had access to it, didn't like what they saw, and then fired her over it. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that feels really messed up. Am I the asshole for asking my husband to put his foot down when it comes to his daughter? I've been married to my husband for many years, and I've been a part of my stepdaughter's life since we began dating. We had the usual every other week custody with her mother. Stepdaughter has had behavioral issues for several years now and has done poorly in school since elementary school, not completing homework or turning it in or not doing well in tests and never seeking help from teachers. She is on medication for ADHD and depression, also diagnosed with oppositional defiance. She lies and sneaks around. At our house, we have rules and consequences that all the kids follow. We have a total of 6 kids, 4 of mine from a previous relationship, and the youngest is ours together. When the stepdaughter is at her mother's house, there seems to be no rules or consequences, and the mother constantly belittling her, calls her names, screams and yells at her, and using her to get status. Stepdaughter barely passed high school, and we are literally told 2 days before school ended that she was graduating. Now, she has completed her first year of college unsuccessfully. She failed classes in both semesters and has continually lied about it. My husband also footed the bill for housing and food. We had a conversation this spring with her, and she cried and cried about how she wants to take some time off and look for a job, but was also told to check with the college if she could take summer classes or what she needed to retake those courses. Here we are in summer, and from what we know, she probably hasn't done this and refuses to contact her father. When asked what she wants to do for a job, she didn't have any idea. Figured she can just work the bare minimum jobs where turnover happens all the time. No set plans, goals, or ideas for her future. Lease renewal is coming up, and I keep harping on husband to cancel the lease since she refuses to tell anyone her plans. Why have a name on something that could damage your name and finances? Husband gets so mad when asked about it, but mad because daughter avoids any contact. At this point, the bridge is burnt between myself and my stepdaughter. I'm not going to listen to her pity party. Time to grow up and make adult choices and decisions, which my husband does agree to. This and says whatever those choices and decisions are, she will have to live with them and deal with the consequences. Let me just get this straight. Previously an only child, mother was abusive, father has a new wife, 4 new step-siblings, and a new, biologically related, half-sibling, with additionally diagnosed mental health problems. And on top of that, she barely passed high school. And you threw her into college. Look, it's not your responsibility to financially foot the bill on everything she does, but you can't just hand someone a broken rubber band and tell them to fix it. That's not how that works. Some of this is on you. You know what she's capable of, and you're putting expectations that are out of their control. You gotta just take a step back and have an honest conversation with them that doesn't have any kind of guilt or pressure attached to it. I think the father recognizes this, but he's also trying to appease you at the same time. I think, yeah, you are the asshole in this situation because, in my opinion, you're putting unfair expectations on her. You're setting her up to fail. And it also feels like you're criticizing your husband for not wanting to see his child end up on the streets. Am I reading that right? Like, you recognize that she has all these problems. Is she in therapy? Is she getting help for these? Or are you literally just throwing her to the wolves and laughing as she gets torn up? Because that's what this feels like. Am I the asshole for giving dating advice to my nephew? Alright, so my nephew, who is 16, was looking a bit dejected when I, 24 male, visited him last week. I asked my sister-in-law and she told me he's having problems with his girlfriend. So I struck up a conversation with him and turns out it's his first girlfriend and he's way into her and she seemed to be pretty rude to him. I was telling him about my first girlfriend and was sharing stories. My brother and sister-in-law were high school sweethearts and got married pretty early. While I have very interesting dating history, it was awesome since I have known him since he was a baby and talking to him about this stuff was great. I told him some interesting stories about how you cannot appear too sweet and have to play it hot and cold at the start. I told him that he needs to treat his girlfriend really well for 4 days of the week while be cold for 3 days, so she feels what it's like to lose him. I know that it's not the most mature advice, but he is 16 and these things really worked out for me. I was telling him about all the funny stories about my exes and some shady techniques I used to hook up with them. It was nothing horrible, just some funny stories to help him understand that life is not a rom-com and he needs to be more confident and not a doormat. My sister-in-law kept on interrupting me and kept on telling him how I should be the last person he should listen to and not to act like an asshole to his girlfriend. I, on the other hand, was defending me and telling him that these techniques work and I have lots of receipts to prove it. My brother sided with my sister-in-law and told me to cut it off as he wants my nephew to be a sweet guy and not manipulative. My nephew, on the other hand, was more interested in what I was saying and kept on asking questions. My question here is, am I the asshole to give quality advice to my nephew that I know will help him in his life? My brother and sister-in-law are 30 and dating was different back then. I feel I'm close to my nephew's age and he could use some of my advice. Well, buddy, they are happily married and you are not. You have Andrew Tate level advice? And, yeah, you are poison. You are poison to his brain. Oh my god, buddy. That is... Yeah, sure, you might get laid a couple times, but you are going to end up a lonely motherfucker by the end of it, alright? Also, half of this just feels like a weird, humble brag, and not really like you're giving advice to a nephew. Also, what do you mean by shady techniques to hook up? Please tell me you're not spiking drinks, my guy. Good god. You are actually poison to that poor kid's mind. Oh my god. I really can't stress enough how much the funny stories and shady techniques really gives me some uncomfy vibes there, bro. The kid had a meltdown this weekend, and I'm done. I'm not going to be disrespected any longer. Throwaway account. My 12-year-old daughter had a meltdown this weekend over an iPhone. My ex-wife and I agreed that we would get her a Gab phone. It's a phone for kids and teens, no internet, no social media on it. This summer, provided she did well in school and showed that she was responsible enough, I went to pick her up this past Friday. And when I got there, I saw that my ex-in-laws had bought her an iPhone. My ex goes, "Mom and Dad wanted to surprise her since she did so well." My ex-in-laws have always tried to undermine our parenting, especially my ex-mother-in-law. My ex-wife always tried to downplay it, and it was one of the reasons we divorced 6 years ago. I say, she's giving it back. You and I agreed that it would be a Gab cell phone when she got a cell phone. I look at my ex-mother-in-law and tell her, the phone is going back, and before you say anything, it's not about the money. Her mother and I had already planned what type of phone she could have. You're going to take the phone back because you had no business buying it for her. She goes over to her and says, "Sorry, honey, but your dad said you can't have it." The tears start first, and then the meltdown, and no, she's not on the spectrum. She yells at me, "I hate you, you ruin everything, I hate going over to your house, I hate you, I wish Tom," her stepdad since she was 6, "was my dad, I hate you, I wish you would disappear." Something just broke in me. I thought about all the money I spent in the custody battle, all the time I spent going to recitals, going to parent-teacher meetings because she was being a mean girl, all the crap I had to put from my ex-in-laws, always trying to undermine me, my ex-wife agreeing to something with me and then caving to her folks, making me look like the bad guy, just all the downright disrespect and being made to feel terrible just because I try to set rules and boundaries, the feeling of always drowning and being overwhelmed by parenting. I was just so sick of parenting this little mean girl. Her grandma comforts her, and her mom tells her, "Apologize to your dad." I tell her, no, don't make her apologize because I want to know if she truly feels that way. I look her in the eyes and I ask her, "Do you really feel that way? Just tell me the truth." She looks me in the eyes and says, "Yes, I hate you, and yes, I wish Tom was my dad." And she meant it. I tell them, fine, she can keep the phone because I'm just done. She doesn't want to come over anymore, fine. If Tom wants to adopt her, tell him to drop the papers, and I'll sign them. You're gonna get your wish, kiddo. I'm going to disappear. I'll pack up your room and your things at my place and I'll drop everything off this weekend. I did just that when I got home, packed up all her stuff and dropped it off at her mom's front early Saturday morning. I got dozens of texts and calls from my ex wanting to talk the past few days, but I did not respond. I was offered an assistant director job with the international division of my company a few weeks ago. Even though it is a huge promotion and a huge pay increase, I turned it down because of the extensive travel requirements and a possible relocation overseas. First thing this morning, I went to my boss and told him if the position was still open, I wanted it. By lunch, I was in a Zoom meeting with the VP of International and the department head of International. Before I left this evening, I was in HR filling out paperwork. I officially start the new job in 3 weeks. I know I'm going to have to talk to my ex and the kid eventually, but I meant what I said. I'm done. If her stepdad wants to adopt her, he can. If not, that's fine as well. I'll simply be a monthly check. I may update this, but I'm just done being disrespected. That kid is going to need a lot of therapy moving on. Holy shit. Okay. I was with the dad up until it became clear that he was looking for an out. He had an overseas offer, and the moment that he saw a position to take it, he took it. Not to mention, she's a teenager. She's hormonal. You gotta think about that, man. You saw an opportunity, and you took it, and she's probably gonna hate you for the rest of your life. Or she's gonna have abandonment issues and a lot of other issues for the rest of her life that you'll be the direct cause for. Thing is, having an iPhone is a status symbol. She probably saw this as her in with the cool kids, being able to make TikToks and interact with her friends on social media, all the fun stuff. She saw this as her ticket in to actually, being someone in her school. And you took it away from her. A Gab phone would have been embarrassing. And I'm not saying you made the bad choice by originally wanting the Gab phone. I'm not saying that, your parenting style was wrong by wanting them to essentially be off of that stuff and not wanting them to have access to the internet. You were in the right for that. But you gotta remember, she was given a golden ticket, had all of the emotions go through her of how exciting it was and all the thoughts and possibilities, and that got stripped away from her. Yeah, that is definitely on the mother-in-law. And yeah, she was definitely having an emotional breakdown and a meltdown. And instead of being a father, you left. I really want to hear some common perspective on this one, because I think the dad was right to feel wronged by what the ex-mother-in-law did, but I feel like his reaction was almost sinister, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Am I the asshole for telling my wife that her best friend's lethal drug overdose means nothing? My, male 33, wife, female 34, recently lost her best friend of 16 years to a drug overdose. Essentially, her friend had been dealing with some sort of mental health issues for several years. I honestly didn't know which one it was. My wife's best friend had started smoking weed in high school, but according to her, this wasn't a regular thing, and when she did do it, she only smoked a little. My wife has told me that her best friend was cheated on a few months ago, and this prompted her to start taking harder substances, such as opioids and some others that I don't know. This went on for around a month before she was found dead in her house by her roommate due to an overdose. My wife had been extremely torn up about this, and it's been very hard in our relationship since. She's been taking weeks off work, she won't eat, and this resulted in me having to postpone a big promotion I was doing for work. Which I brought up with her because even though her friend's death wasn't right, it just doesn't allow her to begin halting her life and our relationship. So that's what I told her. I also told her that in the grand scheme of things, her best friend's death means nothing, and that life will go on for everyone, me, my wife, and her best friend's family. My wife broke down into tears after I told her this. I tried to comfort her and apologize, but she told me she was going to stay with her parents and that she needed time to think about the disgusting and heartless things I've said. Am I the asshole? It sounds like you're more mad about the fact that your promotion at work was stalled because she was grieving over the death of almost a lifelong friend. My man, when she needed you the most, you vanished like ing. That is, my God, dude. That is a grotesquely sociopathic comment, because in one fell swoop, you basically just said yeah, your friendship with her meant nothing over the last 16 years, and get over it. And your wife is probably wanting space because she probably just realized that if she were to die tomorrow, you would probably just move on immediately and have no feelings about it. Because if you're so heartless about one of her best friends dying, how are you gonna feel about her? You can't even show even a crumb of empathy towards her. Congrats on the new promotion, dude. I hope it was worth the permanent damage to your relationship with your wife. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code OZ at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.